I think your first 4 plays were pass plays. Do you think that you need to establish the run earlier, um, I guess in general?
First play of the game was an RPO. It was a run, and so it was a called RPO. It was a run pass option, and we elected to throw it. So it's a 50-50 run pass. So and then we were second down. Second down was a shot play, and then we were 3rd and 7. So we only had 6 plays in the first quarter.
Just 2 weeks into the 2017 Super Bowl winning season, the Philadelphia Eagles' run-pass ratio was already out of whack. After throwing it 39 times in Week 1 compared to just 24 rushing attempts, Doug Pederson called 56 passes in a Week 2 loss to Kansas City. Only 13 design runs. LeGarrette Blount failed to record a single carry. That's when Lane Johnson spoke up. That's when Zach Ertz spoke up. That's when the entire team spoke up. And Doug Pederson listened. He listened. The Eagles wound up finishing 6th in the NFL in rushing yards, 4th in yards per carry, 4.5, 3rd in rushing yards per game, 132.2, and 11th in run-pass ratio. I'm hoping that somebody spoke up after Sunday's game. Because right now, Carson Wentz, your franchise quarterback, he is getting plastered. Doug Pederson attributing the lack of rushing attempts to the Eagles falling behind and having to play from behind. Here's Doug Pederson from Monday's press conference.
Yeah, I do. If we're having success running the football, sometimes we continue to run the football. I look at the beginning of the second half. I think there were 7 runs in that drive, and we ended up turning it over. So, look, it's definitely a fine line. You'd love to have balance. We just got in a situation where we fell behind, and we fell behind. And even in the third quarter, it was 20-3, and we're working ourselves back. So. I love to run the football, and I think our guys are good at it, and we've been successful at it. But at the same time, we can't get behind in football games because sometimes the running game won't allow you to get back fast enough.
All right, so here are the numbers for this season. The Eagles have run 347 plays, the 5th most in the NFL. They've run the ball 36% of the time. That's 22nd. They are averaging 4.4 yards per carry. Doesn't matter who's back there. Josh Adams, 4.1 yards per carry. Corey Clement, 4.1 yards per carry. Wendell Smallwood, 6.0 yards per carry. So even though Jay Ajayi is hurt, every back that's on the roster is averaging over 4 yards per carry except for Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles isn't really a guy that's going to get a lot of touches per se from a handoff point of view. So let's look into what Doug Pederson said, right? He said they're not running the ball because they're not getting off the quick starts. They're playing from behind. All right, well, I call bullshit because I went and looked up the numbers. And I swear to God, it seems like every first half, the Eagles are just coming out pass happy. Pass, 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 pass. No running the football, no consistency with it. They don't start running it until the second half. And then the second half, when they are behind, that's when you got to throw it. But in terms of establishing a rhythm in the first half, it is not happening. And I've got the numbers to prove it. Oh, yeah, Doug. See, I ain't no dummy. Okay, so here we go. Here are the numbers. First half numbers for each Eagles game this season. This was a simple study. You go and look at each of the NFL game books from each of the first 5 games. You look at the first half totals. Okay, so here we go. The Eagles, in these 5 first halves that they have played, they have run 150 plays. Only 46 of them are rushing attempts. That is 30.6% of the time. That is actually lower than what you're doing for an entire game. So, Doug Pederson, you're lying. You lied in your press conference. You lied. Untrue. Your facts are wrong. And I just hope that this Super Bowl hasn't gotten to Doug Pederson's head. I hope that he hasn't lost his humility. because the humility aspect is a big reason why the Eagles won a Super Bowl last year. And right now, I'm seeing some questionable decisions. Isaac Seumalo playing for Stefan Wisniewski. You're not running the ball consistently. This is the Doug Pederson that I thought we were going to see in 2017, and we're getting it in 2018. The lack of commitment to the running game. And it's, I know a lot of people are talking about Frank Reich. Look, he's lost Frank Reich for the red zone. That's where Frank Reich was a major contributor last year. But when it comes to running the football, that's not Frank Reich. That's Doug Pederson's decision. He's the one calling the plays. You got to start running the ball more. Okay? So I showed the statistics, right? And the other thing about this is this. See, the other argument now is going to be, well, they lost Jay Ajayi. Who do they have that can actually run the football? I gave you the numbers. I showed you the numbers. 4.1 yards per carry for Adams, 4.1 yards per carry for Clement, 6 for Wendell Smallwood. It doesn't matter who's back there. The offensive line is going to generate enough push for you to run the football. It kind of reminds me of back, I want to say this was like 15 years ago-ish. It was between the Amon Green and Eddie Lacy era in Green Bay. They went through running backs galore. James Starks led them in rushing one year. Brandon Jackson led them in rushing one year. Sam Congato led them in rushing one year. They were just going through a plethora of running backs. It didn't matter who was back there. They had a pretty good offensive line. You ran the football, and everything was fine. And that's kind of the way I look at this situation. If you run the football consistently, it doesn't matter who's back there. You're going to be fine, and you're going to be generating consistent yardage. So you look back at everything, right? Everything starts up front. The team is built from the inside out. So what they need to do is call plays from the inside out to help the offensive line get back into a rhythm when it comes to pass protection. Run the football. Run the football. Just do it. Just fucking do it. I want to see just a 50-50 ratio and just see what happens. I bet you you're going to win the game Thursday, Doug. I bet you you're going to win. I guarantee it. I seriously guarantee it. And it's going to open up the play action. Everything's going to be a lot easier. All right, so I got one more comment from Doug Pederson from the presser today. Here we go.
We've got to figure out how to start games faster, stay on the field longer, and generate points early in football games. Because if you go back to our history, the times that we've had success as a football team, we've been able to do that. We've been able to score on opening drives, get the lead early, which allows for your running game to really take over, play action pass, all of that. That's the one of the ingredients that's missing, right now.
Well, Doug Pederson definitely nailed that one on the head. And here's the thing about today's NFL. A lot of these teams, they pass to set up the run. You build a lead to set up the run. But the Eagles are not building early leads so far this season. Not like last year when they were basically getting off to these red-hot starts each and every week. So they'd get off to a great start. They'd pound the rock in the second half, keep the defense fresh, and they'd win football games. That was the recipe last year. But this year, they're falling behind. Doug Pederson's getting pass happy. There's no even split ratio in terms of the pass and run percentages. And Carson Wentz is getting knocked around each and every play. It's very predictable. And teams are just unleashing on Carson like he's a human piñata. You run the football more, you start to win more football games. I really think it's that simple. It really is.